Good morning, friends. I'm out here in the garden and I thought that I would just take a little walk around and show you what's happening. So here, this is my my winter squash and my pumpkin bed, and I do have it planted a little bit thick because what usually happens is it escapes the bed anyway and ends up crawling all around, and so I just kind of planted a little thick. Plus, I was worried about squash bugs, and they'll probably end up killing some of my plants anyway. Some of them I have under cover, and some of them I just have caged because of the chickens, because my fence is only 2 feet tall, and the chickens that can fly can flippity-flop over the top. So anyway, I have a couple of volunteer sunflowers that are coming up over here, so I've just kind of left them because they aren't in the beds. They won't disturb anything. And then this is my summer squash area. So this is zucchini and like yellow and gray and white summer squashes. And again, I just had issues with the chickens, so I have gone ahead and caged some of them, but I can see it's about time to start moving those little nets off of them. And then we used the weed eater and whacked the weeds down in the garden last night. So this is going to be my tomato and cucumber area over in these fences. And then the peppers, only the peppers, I decided, are going over here. So I have to do a little bit of soil moving, and then I can get the peppers planted over here with the chickies. And I do have to cage everything, and I'm probably going to have to fence it off like I did on this side. So I fenced this side off earlier to keep the chickens out. And if you recall, I was excited because my asparagus came back and seemed to be growing well. I've got some coxcomb that volunteered and came up in there. I had Methi back in there, which is fenugreek, but it just didn't grow. So I turned that little bed into eggplant instead, and then I put some bush beans over in that metal container because I decided, it's hard to see, that I was going to put okra in that back bed. So I put the okra and some bush beans in that back bed because those two should play nice together. And then there's a volunteer potato here on the end of my garlic bed, and then I've also got some onions planted in here because I had so many onions. That is a little ground cherry. That one is a little ground cherry, and that is a sunflower, and if it gets too big I may have to pull that sunflower out. I have a pile of mint that's growing really well. It escaped the bed it was in, and now I have to put something else in that bed. The flowers back there are actually from the bok choy and the radishes, but I also have beets in there, so now I have to get the bok choy and the radishes out so the beets can grow. And then I have carrots and lettuce, and I think onions on the other side of that bed. And then I have some escapees where Ina helped me plant, and so I have like a mustard and some lettuce hanging out there. So I need to cut those out and eat them. Because this is mustard up here. I didn't have a ton of mustard that grew. So I don't know. I'll see if I can either get this bed replanted or not. And then my spinach is there. It's also trying to go to seed, just like the bok choy and the little purple flowers are the radishes. The yellow's the bok choy back there. And then I did get melons in. So last night I put melons here, and I put melons under the peas because by the time the peas are done, the melons should be growing really well. I've got some dill in that one because that was supposed to be herbs, but it's not, it hasn't really grown. I put like dill and cilantro back in there, so I'm gonna have to reseed that. That is a volunteer sunflower. This is my potato bed. Last year I had a very anemic potato harvest year. This year it is just going gangbusters. This whole bed is nothing but potatoes. So it's so thick and so lush. That one's blooming. And then I guess there are 2 sunflowers technically in this bed. And then the bed behind that is onions, but only some of my onions have come up. I planted that entire thing with onions, and I only have a tiny little row of starts. So I'm hoping that they just got delayed a little bit and they will keep coming up. And of course, I still have things up on the deck, so I will take you up there and we'll talk about what's still on the deck because most of it's what I haven't planted out here, but I have put some herbs and things up on the deck too. And I found a cute greenhouse that if I hadn't had Ina with me, I probably would have done some video with, because it was an adorable little greenhouse. And if you're out in this area, highly recommend. They had an awesome selection. But let's check in with the chickies while we're out. So the chickies are out free ranging this morning, except for, let's see, Cupcake's not out there. Cupcake and Puff, yeah, because that's Coco. Cupcake and Puff are still sitting in the chickie coop because they hadn't laid eggs yet. So those are 2 duck eggs and 1 chicken egg this morning. Oh, there's my comfrey. My comfrey is getting huge. I've got more comfrey plants out by the duck run, and you can kind of see the duckies in the pond behind them. And then I've been working to clean out the chicken run so I can put more sand in to help keep it nice for this summer. But I only got part of it done before my back hurt last night, so I have more work to do. And then I'd like to replace my chicken coop because it's, I mean, it worked for what it worked for, but it was very cheap. And so it's just kind of time. It's kind of time to replace the chicken coop. So I'm on the hunt for a new chicken coop. Yeah, that's my very exciting chicken update, I guess. And the chickies. We'll walk over there and say hi to them before I go up on the deck. Good morning, chicks. Yeah, hi. You guys are free ranging pretty far this morning. You boys had better take care of my girls today. Yeah. Maybe, oh, don't go to the trees. All the geese are out there. And now I'm up on the deck. So this is a pepper plant that we overwinter every year. My husband just really likes the hot peppers on it. It was a super chili, I think is what it was called. So this will go back out in the garden. This is my lemon tree, which had a very unfortunate infestation of scale. So I trimmed this guy all back. Let's see, that was supposed to be elderberry cuttings, but Charlie decided to chew on all of them, and so then they didn't root. I did put out some lavender and this really pretty, I don't know, this is just a really pretty thyme plant. I loved the little purple flowers on it. We found this at a super amazing greenhouse. Anyway, so just made a little bit of an herb bed, and yes, there's a tiny piece of mint over there. I left it in. I figure I can always tear it out later. This is another batch of spinach because my other spinach is trying to go to seed. These are the sweet peppers I had to buy because unfortunately my sweet peppers just didn't grow this year. So I have to get those in the garden. This was me attempting to get the cucumbers started so that I can put little plants out. Usually I would direct seed, and this year I'm trying it a little bit differently. And then I have lots of different herbs and flowers back here. So lemon balm and sage and agastache and oregano, parsley, cilantro, let's see. And then I've got some marigolds coming up there. That's a whole batch of sunflowers to go out to the garden. This is our curry tree, which I've trimmed up. And then this was a basil pot last year, so I need to trim these down because I've got more basil that reseeded down in there. Here's my tomatoes that have to go to the garden. They're looking quite nice. And then here's my tray of really sad little sweet peppers that clearly didn't grow well. And my hot peppers. My hot peppers look better. Not great, but better. So I will put those out. There are still, I don't know, 2 or 3 eggplants in there that I will try to tuck in the garden. But I don't have high hopes for those either. This is like a random pot that I need to pull all the lettuce out of and eat. But it's mostly chives, is what it's supposed to be. Although there's a little cilantro. Then we have the rosemary. That's my citronella plant, which looks terrible, so I need to trim that guy back. I did put 1 sunflower up here in the giant pot, so hopefully it'll be okay. And then Ina really wanted some flowers, so I put some flowers in this pot and a rosemary over here again. And then I have all the rest of these pots that I need to finish cleaning out and planting because, you know, that's the fun part. So anyway, lots of fun stuff going out in the garden this year and on the deck. And it should be a really fun year in terms of, you know, making pickles and things. Oh, I forgot, hang on. Down there, that is a pot o' peas. But the peas only last so long, so I've probably got another few weeks with those and then they'll get too hot. And I put a squash plant in there because I thought, well, why not? So I put a little squash plant down in there. And then my thyme plant died that was in here, so I decided to go ahead and grab a new one. So I've pulled out the old plant. I gotta go throw all that on the burn pile. And I planted the new one. And right down there, it's gonna be my new pot of thyme. So, yeah. So there we go. That's it. That's kind of the garden for now. Oh, I have to clean out my hummingbird feeder and get that filled up again. Because they're back. The hummers are back. But yeah, this is my view off the deck behind me. So you can see my garden and my chickies and, you know, the lovely pond and the duck house. And anyway, I come enjoy time out here a lot. So there we go. That's a little update for you all. And yeah, now we're going to do some sashiko stitching. So stick around for that. I should have another video of that up very soon. See you guys later.